What's good, everybody? Welcome back for another recap review show here at Big Old Belt Media for BMF. As tonight we're getting into episode 9 from season 3. This episode is titled Death Trap, written by Patrick Moss and directed by Crystal Roberson. Sir Lucas and I, or one of us is named Joe, not sure who it is, because somebody in the comments wants to know, is Joe single? And I'm not sure who the Joe is.
Gotta be you, because everybody knows Lou. So it's clearly not Lou.
No, but they're talking about you calling me Joe. I mean, you saying Joe, but I'm not sure if there's, I don't know. It's got to be you.
Because it's DC slang. My bad. It comes out from time to time.
Every week they're inquiring about your relationship status. So wow. I think you're taken. You got taken like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? By what's her name in there? Yeah, she's been quiet, so I guess she's happy. Y'all happy? Happy wife? Hey, no comments.
Happy life, happy wife. I'm telling you, we out here. We out here better than Meech and Terry.
Man. But this episode 9, and this is a very different episode 9, if you ask me, because episode 9 is usually a little bit more explosive. And maybe they're gonna send everything and load up for episode 10. We'll see. We will see.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, let's get through tonight's events of this episode, starting off with young Meech and Terry dreaming about being in Miami, and their love for Scarface. I mean, I could have guessed, but I also think like in interviews or something, there's a mention of how much they, in the BMF documentary, they always talked about everybody wanted to be Tony Montana. Not me.
Not want to be Tony Montana.
Yeah, not me at all.
None at all, Joe. He is not an example of a good drug dealer.
But that, you know, their model, should we say? But then we eventually get to see them, or quickly see them, grow up now in Miami. And now from Miami, talking about getting to South Beach. And in South Beach, they said, you know, everybody visits Club Foxy, and Club Foxy is going to be where they will meet Mac, who will give them an introduction to the mechanic, which we know the mechanic name is Francois, because the Red Dogs have shut everything down. Now, here's what's interesting with this. I'm gonna finish out with the events of this scene, but I got some questions about the Red Dogs shutting everything down thing. But the goal is now to make Atlanta the hub, so they can now take over the nation and the world and all that other good stuff. But with that, Markeisha shows up on a work trip, who says hi to Meech. Meech says nothing to her, and she's there because apparently this is a vacation. She must think this is 2024, because this is not all that type of parlaying off of a business trip to a vacation. This is strictly business, but she was going to try to get hers one way or another. We're going to talk about that dysfunction at some point in this episode. Let's talk the Red Dogs. So we know the Red Dogs were sort of deployed in Atlanta because of housing development projects. Yeah, and then the Olympics, you know. But they said that the Red Dogs have shut everything down. They started naming many other cities as well too. Is this true?
Not to my knowledge. The Red Dogs only existed in Atlanta. When he said, man, the Red Dogs shut down everything. Cleveland, Ohio, the D. I'm like, wait a goddamn minute. They start crossing state lines here.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a different form of something that you would unless they would talk about traffic coming into Detroit. But I don't know a situation where I would go through.
You mean coming into Atlanta?
They named to get, like, I wouldn't have to get to those cities and go through Detroit to do so.
Yeah.
So it didn't really make sense. I think he was just saying if they slow up stuff in Detroit, it slows up
Atlanta.
Stuff everywhere else. But that also doesn't make sense. I don't know.
unless it was Atlanta, and Atlanta is their hub, and it's messing up the traffic of everything that's flowing from all of those cities. I mean, that's what they're saying. That's what I took from it. But like, if you're like us and we're just sitting here trying to break everything down, it's like, oh, well, that doesn't seem like an accurate statement there, because yeah, from my knowledge or recent knowledge of the Red Dogs, I was not familiar with them at all until I started watching this. But then going to look it up, I mean, they're being portrayed very much like the tyrants they were.
They're nothing like the gun trace task force, but
in Baltimore, oh yeah, I mean,
nothing like them niggas, Joe.
Yeah, not at all, not at all. I mean, there's dirty, and then there's like the gun trace task force in Baltimore. That's like a whole different type of sewage water there.
A whole different type of water. And them niggas be Jordans. Made it so much worse.
Steal it. Hey, steal your stuff and your money. Come back wearing flossed out, a whole different lifestyle. You got white cops dressing like they black, and then tried to arrest you again off of your own supply.
Ain't nothing like a nigga whooping your ass in a Ravens jersey and some Concords. Really piss you off.
Hey yo, go ahead. Yeah. Well, first of all, let's just start. Let's get some slight reactions to things. Cause I know you all are about to go crazy online with some of the scenes here. When you saw Markeisha show up, what was your initial thought?
Well, hold up. My first thought was I'm gonna need them eventually to get some little kid that can resemble Meech in some shape, form, or fashion here. Because boy, do they just pick up the random black kids to play Terry and Meech repeatedly. So I just need a black kid that can resemble Meech to play younger Meech. Because they didn't put that shit out yet. I was like, wait a minute, when did him and Terry become the same skin complexion? I was super confused there. But with Markeisha on the trip, all I thought of was Terry did what Terry does, is he was attempting to turn this into a vacation, thinking, well, I'm gonna bring Markeisha with me, and if I get her with me, you know, I ain't got to worry about nothing, and we can flip this little business with Meech and also have some fun out here. Because again, it's talked about at the beginning of the episode how much he wanted to get to South Beach.
Yeah,
and I mean, for a young black man, and you've been there because I know you've been to South Beach a multitude of times.
Yeah,
I mean, that first time there, you know, everything's a party, and I think that's what Terry thought is like. It's a business trip, but I don't think he took it as a business threat trip. And you can tell that by later on what he says to Meech about, you know, again, you bring us into enemy territory without me knowing about it. So he just took it as a regular trip, and he brought Markeisha with him. I was paying more attention to Meech's reaction to Markeisha being there.
Yeah, facts. So we get to the club now, Club Foxy, and this is where they plan to meet Francois. And while they're talking to their man down here, Mac. Were they talking to Mac here? Who were they talking to?
Yeah, they were talking to Mac in the club.
Okay, yeah. So they're talking to Mac, and they was like, yeah, when you meet Francois, like, listen, this dude's going to be interviewing you. So, like, you know, he's very selective about his clients, et cetera, et cetera. But they look across at the stage, and Terry notices Angel, who's working. Where they quickly overlook was the MKs that was sitting front row to the queen of the MK, shall we say. But nonetheless, I did really enjoy this scene because we always questioned about them going to Platinum Palace and how that just is definitely not a safe environment, knowing that your enemies at any time could be in any corner and it's going to go down one way or another. But they're in Miami with the Miami Kings behind enemy lines and territory where they have been given fair warning. And Terry has mentioned it over and over. Do you know what you're doing? Da-da-da-da-da. So I love how it was instantly a threat that you are in their home territory. They're there. You ain't about to just be chilling in the club like you usually do back in Atlanta.
And all of them MKs knew who Meech was.
1000%. And
because all of them are from Atlanta.
Or even still, because, you know, Glock had to come.
Glock had to come for a reason.
Well, sure. Well, I mean, listen, they had to come back for Glock, for T'Chaka, who died, who Glock is right-hand man. So everybody had to come back to Miami for the funeral. So, like, of course, they're like, yeah, we know who did it. And everybody knows that, you know, who it is. I just think that the coincidentalness of him being down there where they're all down there was kind of like a whatever. Anyway, television.
The coincidence was them all watching Angel dance and me thinking, wait, them the MKs, they see this chick in Atlanta all the time. Where the Miami girls at?
I wasn't even going that far. I'm thinking to myself, like, nah, if she rolling with y'all, what's so fascinating about seeing what you see all the time?
I said, wait a minute, who the hell goes to a different city? This is like DC takeover with Miami. This is why you don't go to, if you're from DC, you know what that means. This is why you don't go to DC takeover in Miami. I don't want to see a bunch of people from my city in another city. I don't want to see like Atlanta stripper in Miami. Give me Miami stripper.
Yeah, I think the stripper budget was
it's just Angel
at this rate. Yeah, it's just Angel at this rate. I don't think they showed anybody else.
I don't know why they couldn't just get Mercedes. and Mercedes stripping down in Miami, Joe. That's all you needed right there.
I tell you what. I tell you what's interesting. There should have been more dancers from wow, I can't think of the name of the show. P Valley. Yeah, there should have been more dancers because they're real dancers. Like, let's not act like other folks from other shows with the same genre ain't just flipping across. Like, them showing up wouldn't have messed up any continuity, and I'm sure they could have collected that. They're already in the STARZ family, so they definitely, honestly, they definitely should have dove into a lot more of the sport of dancing because these folks really do it, you know.
It's a sport when those women on them poles, like when they really get into it, that shit is a core workout that most people can't do. So yeah, it is a sport, and they're very extremely talented women. So yeah, I just wasn't expecting to see like just a bunch of MKs looking at Angel because that's kind of odd because she's with you.
It was hilarious. It was definitely hilarious. It was definitely hilarious. I mean, I would have did this scene a lot different. I would have had them in the club from the corner watching Angel because that's sort of, you know, that they're using her as bait right now, and they know it. And Glock said it later on in the episode. He says like she has no allegiance to anybody as long as there's some level of self-benefit for her. So to whoever cuts her a check, gives her shelter, gives her some level of something to do, she's rolling with them. And with that, those are the ones you want to keep close, but also keep at a distance. You know, you want to almost like a fishing reel. You want to be able to throw that out there at times to kind of as bait, kind of see what you can get, but also ultimately, you know, keep in your arsenal. But them sitting front row to that, I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, it was interesting, though.
A bunch of niggas that's not gonna throw her money.
Right. It's interesting though that Mac was also strapped as a boxer there. I'm not sure what type of story they're trying to tell with that.
Oh no, this the early 90s. Tyson was strapped in a lot of clubs he went to. Yeah, nah. I know stories of boxers in the night.
Sure.
Nobody was playing. Yeah. Didn't Plaxico shoot itself in the 90s?
That's different. Yeah, no, it wasn't the 90s. It was in 2000s in New York
early 2000s.
In New York, it's a way different story there because celebrities were being headhunted in New York. You're not coming through without checking in.
Early 90s in Miami? Yeah. The movie shot us. I know people hate, they get on us because I'm constantly bringing up Mark for Death, but you can't expect me not to bring up Mark for Death with all these Jamaicans in this story. But shots us qualified too here.
Guess what's in my Blu-ray arsenal?
It got to be Mark for Death, Joe. I watched
it. Right, it is.
2 nights ago.
Right, it is. They taxed me too for that.
I have so many more sayings now. I watched it again. I said, "Oh, shit."
They taxed me for it too. They knew. Movie, they knew. They said, "If you're looking for this, we know why. We're gonna up the premium on this one." Yeah, there's definitely so much like randomness happening here. But nonetheless, the MKs was there. They shut it down. They know Meech is in town, so that's pretty much starts the game of cat and mouse for the remainder of this episode. But within the car, Terry and T, who stepped off because they knew it was too hot, they said, "Listen, we didn't know." The discussion of them not knowing that she was rolling with the MKs, of course they did, but they realized like this is a death trap. Title drop. Nonetheless, next scene we go to Bryant's house, and I swear to God, This beginning of the scene blew me. I've been very, very much pro Detective Jen this entire series. This is the first probably negative thing I've ever had to say about this character. I cannot believe Detective Jen knocks on the door, beats the door down, walks in and says, "You look like shit and you smell like it too." I literally thought, am I watching the right episode? Because she literally said that the last episode.
Because
literally
still's not bathing. Like he still
but the
like
same
shit.
line, like,
hey, look, if you still smell like shit, if I see you on multiple different occasions,
you're not gonna drop the same line. You're gonna be like, bro, you still ain't shower. You gonna come with something like a little bit more like updated, not like the
nigga. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Exactly,
But
exactly.
That's an all black in this house. Like, there's nothing positive coming from a nigga dressing all black at home.
Yeah, I was just like, yo, wait, she definitely said that. Literally, like, I'm not watching the right episode, but nonetheless, she looks at and says, "What happened to your knuckles?" And he admits that he killed Tyson. And here's where things get very, very interesting, because she asks where the body. He said in a strategic spot, and then she said Henry's gonna lose her shit. And they said, "What if we plant a bug on her?" When he said he put it in a strategic spot. And let's just cut all the way to later on in the episode, because I think it'd be pointless to just bring this up and not really talk about it entirely. Knowing that he dumped the body in the trash can, which was near Terry's spot, did you think that was smart?
No. And you would have to be a stupid cop to not put two and two together. Like, no, that makes absolutely no sense. If they would kill him, he wouldn't be dumped in their trash can. Who the hell does that? No, we're taking his body somewhere else. Like, the first thing you would think of is he wasn't killed here. He had to be drug here because of it's too much of it's too clean.
Yeah. I mean, like, also, were you thinking about killing Tyson to use as some type of bait? I don't think that was ever the mindset here. That was a rage kill. Yeah. He was drunk, so there was no strategy behind that. And even if you say, well, after the fact, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. First of all, he's a cop. I was expecting to hear him dump the body in a way that made the most sense, so that it could no way, no how trace back to him. But he strangled him. And when they say they strangled him, the fact that there's an autopsy going on there, knowing that the cops are going to be investigating this, was it DNA at this point? I always forget.
Nah,
yes, no.
In the early 90s, it was, but it wasn't good DNA. It was like not to what we're accustomed to today. Not even close to it either.
Yeah, not the with the what's the drug called?
You can still like hair fibers to people back then, and them not know it. Like DNA evidence is at its infant stage in this point in the 90s.
Yeah.
So they're just learning how it works and what to track. This ain't like clearly in our time frame. Well, I can't say that because in Force Jamal killed somebody, and clearly they acted like DNA evidence didn't exist. So I don't know, but it didn't exist back then to the point that Bryant would get caught. But it was confusing because who the hell would think Terry and them did it? It would make no sense.
And even if you thought like Henry would act impulsive, it still was too close to call, because and none of this was about, and they have said it many times, that this was about them taking down Henry because of the death of Kobe and Kevin. This has nothing to do with BMF. So the fact that you dropped the body in order to set up Terry, where did that come into it? And then the other thing you have to question is, would Jen be on board for this? Why would she say, why would we dump the body to set somebody else up? You're only creating more bodies in the street. That was not the goal. They have plenty of time not say they wanted to kill Henry. They say they wanted to take Henry down. If they wanted to kill Henry, it's pretty easy. You have many one-on-ones with her.
Opportunities to do it. Yeah, this is it. In the end, it makes you question everyone's motives. Because what's the point? Jen keeps on saying, I'm trying to get my job back, but everything you're doing is counterproductive to you getting your job back.
Yeah.
Like, Brian killed somebody. How is that going to help you get your job back? He's planting the evidence on Terry. We know that Bryant, for some odd reason that no one can explain, blames Terry for Kevin's death. Still doesn't make sense. But he blames him for it because he's looking for someone besides the obvious person to blame for it. I would have thought Henrietta would be the person. If you're going to strategically hide a body somewhere, how about you hide it at her place?
Even still, and you know what? Because I was just about to debunk that, but then again, she has killed her own people.
Yes. In a fit of rage, there's no telling what she would do. She just lit someone on fire. If you don't think you could get away with saying in a fit of rage she killed him.
Yeah, and even if it's not, where there's smoke, there's fire with that. You see a dead body, what else is going on here? So, one way or another, I just didn't see like the train of thoughts that led them to saying like, oh, put this by Terry's spot. This is going to be a good plan. But that's no here nor there. That's one of the things I'll be complaining about today. But yep, they want to plant the bug on her, and we're gonna see how that happens. We go back to Miami now. And when we're there, we're inside the hotel where Marquisha's like, I want to go to Tropicana Market. He say, it's not safe for us to be here. Can you please stay put? Marquisha says, you're not ruining my vacation. I can have fun all by my damn self. Just for Meech to walk in saying morning to Marquisha. Now he's speaking to her as she walks out. But Meech talks about how he has the address to Francois, but Mac has to skip town. What else is happening? Oh, so now after that, they're walking through the park or South Beach, one way or another. Or Miami. They're not South Beach yet. They're probably right off of Collins, it looks like. But they talked about how Francois is pissed that they missed the meeting. Then they get a call from Loco, who cannot get a pallet to get the product back to Atlanta, which means they, as he knows they're in in Miami, will have to drive the vehicles and the product back to ATLs themselves. We get the funeral, Glock honoring T'Chaka, letting them know and everybody know that it will be revenge. He also gets word that Meech and them are in Miami.
Everything.
And we also see Angel at the funeral, and they're like, well, who's that? And it's like, oh, it's just a businesswoman. As I say, she aligns with anybody who has her at their best interest.
So why is she at the funeral? He says that, and it makes no sense for her to be at the funeral then.
She's like, rest in peace, my man T'Chaka. They're like, who the hell are you? Who the hell? You know what it made this scene 1,000 times funnier? If Angel was white. This would be the funniest scene ever. I will watch this scene 1,000 times if she was white.
They brought a stripper to his homegoing ceremony, and that's what drew everybody's attention. Like, what is fat ass chick that's walking through here that no one knows?
Listen, I'm trying to be nice, but man, if they had took an opportunity to disrespect her, that would have been crazy. Who the hell let this hoe in the funeral?
Exactly.
I would have lost my shit. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Man, we need to get our life together, bro. Remy and this man, they're just rapping. First of all, let me just knock all the Remy scenes out right now. Remy has some type of FBI or CIA intel, because anything that Meech is doing, he's getting word of it, and he's just sitting in the car just plotting. It definitely, and beyond that, he's like, this is our city, I guess, but he looks like he's hiding out. But since we're talking about Remy,
you ain't got no work. Like, you the brokest leader ever. Like, it makes no sense at this point. He just hates on Meech just to hate on Meech.
1,000%.
He ain't got no reason no more.
I got a question though, since we were talking about it, so let's just go ahead and just throw this in here right now. Do you think Remy's the one that is
Yes. Yes.
For the sake of the viewers here, do you think Remy's the one that is tipping off the Red Dogs? You say
1,000% so.
Why? Tell me why.
When they said, man, Meech and them, what Meech in Miami for? He ain't that stupid. He can put two and two together. But they ain't bringing nothing back to our city. And he snitched. Like, hey, they coming back here. Stop them. Like, it's clearly it came from Remy. Because Remy's man who in the car with him, it's clearly like, man, but they got their pure. Like, they got what we need. And you keep on trying to stop it from happening. And Remy thinks he can stop it from happening by snitching. Which, again, counterproductive. What happened to the guy at the beginning of the season? You was Robin Hood of the hood. You have turned into a bitch. And it happened so fast. So fast. Right after you put the head in the ice bucket, your life has gone down the drain since.
It is.
And here it's just him. You said it looks like it. He is hiding now in his own city. Supposedly his own city. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. But again, I think this is the point of building up this character to see if this fall is going to happen or if he's going to have to be forced to do what he doesn't want to do and become Stacks 2.0.
Ooh. All right. Let's get to the studio now. Cause we see Charles is vibing on the keyboard there. And the Campbells, they're watching them groove, and they say, "Listen, man, we want to take you on tour." Next, we go to this garage-looking art gallery, museum-looking spot, and this is Terry and Meech meeting up with Francois, aka Tony Stark, because he's building Iron Man there. But nonetheless,
this is the beginning of Art Basel. You know that? This is clearly the beginning of Art Basel right here, Joe. Put that shit in there. Francois was about to open South Beach up. I'm telling you.
Hey, you funny as a bug. But Francois, man, listen, this is the person who stands on business. He said he didn't like that he was stood up. And they obviously did because they're praising him for his work that he did on Mac with his Roseworth, and now they tricked it out. And Meech is trying to go about this the traditional way, his traditional way of saying, I got money, what's good? And he's like, it ain't about the money, it's about the business. You say it's gonna be there, you gotta be there. And they ask how much Iron Man is, and he says 200, and Terry says, nah, 250. You gotta take a little bit more pride in your work. But he said, as I mentioned, money doesn't impress him. It's really about being prompt about the business. But they give him the deposit, and Terry says, I got a plan that certainly will win him over. Definitely didn't think what happened was going to happen, but we'll see. We'll talk about it in a second. We go back to the Flenory home, and Charles rolls in telling Lucille that the Campbell brothers want him to play more, and they talk about a 6-week tour, and he wants Lucille to come with him. And Lucille and Nicole, first of all, this was a amazingly funny shot scene, because when Lucille and Nicole both look back and say, or Nicole looks back and Lucille's looking at Charles, and they both say tour at the same time, and how they both looked at him at the same time. I think it's like a perfect reaction of what you normally see, especially in our household, because everybody chiming. We ain't even talking to you, Nicole. You in there trying to get your words in. But nonetheless, he said, listen, you can come on tour. Nicole could stay back. Nicole's obviously cool with this, but she's sent upstairs. And this is where it gets interesting, because this is Charles' way of trying to get the family back together. And he's talking about, listen, how they can have fun, explore the different cities, and, get to do things they didn't get to do and have money to do so. And then, Lucille's like, this is your dream here. You should do it, da-da-da-da-da. And pretty much wants to send him off to say, pursue your dream, go and be happy. And more or less stating or insinuating that she wants to stay back, where Charles pretty much comes to the conclusion and says that don't pretend like you stand behind is about us. Much like Lucille says, just don't pretend like you going is about the family. I don't know if I want to go of who's right and who's wrong, but I guess the biggest thing is like, what do you make of this?
This nigga just won't stop. She is giving you every signal that it's over. Yeah. Like she couldn't tell you more that it's over if she was Keisha Cole. He's letting you know it's over, and he's steady pursuing it. So she did the right thing. This is Charles's dream. Go live your dream, live your life. I'm not a part of that dream though. Like, he's attempting to rekindle something that he fucked up. Because again, that's one thing we always got to remember. Charles fucked up.
Yeah.
And he's expecting her to forgive him for his transgressions. And she is very adamant, like, no. But I don't want you to give up on your dream. Mm-hmm. Like, she still wants to see Charles happy.
Yeah.
She just don't want him happy with her. Which is not a bad problem at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Their marriage, she's been very adamant this entire season that their marriage is over. It is Charles doing everything. Why would you even invite her on a tour? And then to leave your daughter at home by herself. Because clearly he done stopped being a daddy and he ain't picking up on no signs in Nicole out this show with Breeze doing everything ungodly, humanly possible. and Lucille said it when she said, what? And we got a daughter, and so we leave her unsupervised and she ended up pregnant. If that ain't the Flenory family tradition of having babies in your teenage years, that should be enough for you to know that's not a smart idea. And LaWanda ain't helping. She's 17, 18 with 2 babies. I don't want you watching my daughter. You fucking everything humanly possible. No. Even though that humanly possible is my son. But no, I don't want you watching my baby. Again, it makes no sense, but this is just Charles attempting to make Lucille forget of everything that he did. And that's the problem here. Instead of him thinking, this is my chance, this is my dream, I could do my music on the road. And them gospel diggers, I'm sorry, I'm saying gospel niggas, but them gospel niggas, what did they say? We can hit the road, travel, and have some fun. If you think that fun when them fucking up and down the interstate, in the name of the Lord, you have lost your mind. Because clearly that's what they was going to do. That's the fun they were talking about having.
I'm going as far with this as saying that, like, what Charles is doing is this is a person who is about 35 points behind with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So he's throwing Hail Marys. and I'm not faulting him for trying here. But I'll be honest, like, I'm not mad at the dynamic between the two of them at all this episode, because there's nothing but truths. This is probably the first time no one has lied to each other. Even with them even stating, like, you know, who is this really about? And they're being honest. It's like, they'll eat or especially trying to hold each other accountable for it. So I'm not mad at that at all. Can this be rekindled? Can this be repaired? I don't think so. And the reason why I say I don't think so is because Lucille has admitted that she's torn, but the one thing she's doing that I will commend is that she is prioritizing herself. So we didn't see her like, oh, no Charles, Dr. Monclair, or no Dr. Monclair, Charles. She's like, no, me. I need to figure out what's best for me, and I can get behind that any and every day. And as far as Charles, I think Charles is coming to the realization. I think that kiss on the side of her face and kind of walked away was unlike him, who felt his position to have to fight was to stand there and try to convince her. But I think he's now coming to a place of like, okay, I think it's finally starting to get through. And Dr. Monclair is just, man, listen.
Episode, then you might as well go into the big thing, and that's her saying, I think I'm in love with him. That's it. You lose. Now pack up the bags, buddy. Ain't no need.
But also too, I think
whenever a woman says, I think I'm in love, there's no thought behind it. She's in love. She's just trying not to hurt your feelings by saying, I'm in love with him.
Yeah.
I ain't never met a woman who say, I think I'm in love. You ever had that conversation where a woman tells you, I think I'm in love with you? That means she is. The thought process is if he rejects me because of it. But Lucille knows he's not, because he said, I'm in love with you. I think that was the barrier right there for her. to let her know it's fine.
I'm not going to argue here. I think she's definitely a lot of steps out the door, and we'll figure it out one way or another. The one thing I will say is that like they'll both be happy. He'll get to get his music. He'll get some joints on tour with those Christian brothers.
Clearly, Mabel will be out there.
Mabel will be there. And a lot more Mabels at that.
Hey, a multitude of Mabels.
Yeah.
Cornucopia, if you will.
That you ain't gonna have to fix nothing to get in there.
Hey,
you just gotta show up.
Fix some draws. That's about it. and think about the Lord. Because if don't nothing bring them hoes out, it's gospel music.
Amen.
Let me tell you this. Amen. Especially on the road, gospel music. Oh Lord, listen.
You sound like you was in the church choir back in the day. Hey, let me find out.
Maybe ain't nothing. Than the church girl. What Beyonce said? You know,
I don't know. What did she say? No, I don't know.
Down on the floor. She had a song called Church Girls, and it was about church girls fucking. So clearly, everybody knows. If you get you a nice, good church woman, she gonna listen. And on the road, that's what they did. I mean, it's a tour. It's the 90s. I don't give a fuck what you was touring with. Jazz, gospel, hip hop, R&B. The same groupies exist no matter what genre of music you play.
We gotta move on. You got people out here rethinking their career choices now. Like I could. You mean to tell me if I just go to church and join the choir, I don't have to be simping on OnlyFans anymore?
Oh man, if you simping on OnlyFans, you already a loser. Twitter gives you all the free whatever you need.
How do you know this, sir?
I don't watch adult stuff, but I ain't crazy. My Twitter timeline be sick. All I gotta do is click on the wrong link. Like, good God, what is wrong?
I gotta tell you, like, we gotta get off this, but I gotta tell you, I heard Elon Musk is going to be banning those social those what do you call it? Those social what's the name? What's the name of it? But nonetheless, it's the people that be under every comment that has nothing to do with what the comment was in order to try to
posting random shit. Man, yeah, them niggas.
And then it just be a whole bunch of just nudity there for no reason. Yeah, they say they getting ready to ban that. So I was like, all right.
I posted something about a movie review, and all of a sudden you want to see hot nigga girls? No, nigga, I posted a movie review. Yeah. You don't know about hot nigga girls. It's disgusting in those comments. But hey,
it's
to each his own. Just know. If you're looking for free porn, it's on Twitter or X or whatever you call it at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Oh yeah, it's engagement farming accounts. Elon is
that's what's called. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, at Big O Bell on all social media. Shameless plug. Anyway, we get back to now. We get the Angel driving. She's being followed by Glock. We get back to the gambling spot. Jen is there. She has the bug. Trying to figure out how she's gonna plant this. Henry is there. And looking for Tyson as she's talking to her other folk. Heard about BMF getting a new supply. She kirks, but she sees Jen. They're eyeing each other up. Talk about you want to get out of here. Now we get to Jen and Henry 101. Talk about what they do for work. So they both getting familiar with one another. Henry looks to have made a very nice old fashioned. I would say myself, I wouldn't mind having a nice little old fashioned right about now. Looks like she done poured that up nice. But in the meantime, Jen is trying to plant this bug in the cane. Failed the first time, got the second time. As I mentioned, Henry's opening up. So Henry's like vulnerable, but like in a way that's like normal because she's so always on edge. We just kind of see like the normal side of Henry. But nonetheless, Jen gets a little hesitant on the drink and she says, listen, I'm not going to hold you back. You can leave if you want. Jen admits that she's never been with anybody like her before. But Henry is locked in when she heard that. They start to kiss, and that good old STARZ contract clause gets into effect. With no nudity at this time, but implied sex as we get to see Henry take off the wrap and then gives the head because I guess you needed to wrap off in order to go down under.
I mean, no, it's just stopped off. I mean, I think they were respectful with the scene, which I absolutely love that they did this the proper way of not showing certain body parts because it's unnecessary to show.
Well, here's my thing. Here's my my take of it too. I think the word vulnerable applies again because this is something that we know Henry has been very I don't know if I want to say protective, but very much particular about this level of exposure. When we've seen her rapping any other times, it's back to everybody, and try to create as much isolation as possible. So to be front with somebody and do this lets you know that she's legitimately falling for Jen, which means Jen has infiltrated the enemy and is going to really have her at her mercy to get what she needs. So this is very much a different change of pace with Henry, and Henry's been very honest about being a pleaser in the past. So like this just all follows suits. What I think it should be noted is Jen avoiding the drink. Okay, this when Jen needs to drink, when she asks for the hard drink, it's a lot of things I'm thinking here. It's like, did she use the drink to create the space so she can plant? Did she need the drink so she can get in the mindset to allow what was going to happen? And ultimately, did she enjoy what happened? And is she going to ever allow herself to enjoy? She's stuck between, she's not a cop, but still between the job, the pleasure, the mission, or the reality. what focusing on Jen, what do you think you make of her position in all of this?
First, she asked for the drink for me to plant the bug. She needed her to make a drink so she could plant that bug. Everything after that, I don't think it was planned. I think Jen legitimately is falling for Henry.
Okay.
And because even her training, her undercover training would tell you never sleep with your mark under no circumstances. But here she did it. And I don't think it had anything to do with I need to build a close relationship with her. I think she is falling for her. I think I believe Jen when she said, I've never been with someone like you.
I sense that.
And she's vulnerable right now. She just lost someone who she saw as a replacement of her sister. And now you having this other person like fawning over you.
Make it very clear that the person that's responsible for her sister is the person that she's allowing to,
That's weird. Tragedy makes strange bedfellows. And that's part of the problem here, is that she thought she was going in for a simple mission to set up Henry and get rid of her. And she didn't expect Henry to be so charming. I don't think she expected Henry to be so vulnerable. And all of that is throwing her off. And here is her letting her inhibitions go. Because there was no need to sleep with Henry when Henry was going to let her go.
Yeah.
With no issue. And she decided to move forward with everything. So then that tells me that she's falling for her. At times when you're going through a tragic spell, you just need to feel loved. Even if it's from someone who caused the tragedy. And that's the weird part we're here with Jen. This is someone who caused the tragedy, but Jen still feels that need to be loved. And she's getting it from Henry.
I tell you that when Jen mentioned about her wanting to take a lateral out of the department, I think it's going to be a lot more than her just understanding that she's in the office of corrupt officers. I think this will be a factor of her having to run from this, and the complications that's involved with this is what I'm kind of aiming at here. But nonetheless, we get to back to the beach, where we see Angel and Meech, and say Glock was tracking her when she got his page. She talks about how she can't go back. Meech says, "I'll never let anybody hurt you while you're with me." And she jumps right on it at the beach. I tell you, man,
my boys stay getting on Terry, but boy.
After she just let the MKs bust down that he said, "I never let nobody hurt you while you with me," and then this bust right in there, right on the beach.
No issue. All South Beach.
Yeah, honestly, this is like a tradition for some folks in Miami. Just get to that beach and just lose their mind.
It is some strippers and some niggas that this is their tradition. This is a yearly event here. You go on that beach, that's why you just do what you do.
That's why, for one person, I've never agreed on anything in my entire life. That's why DeSantis was right in what he did. He said, "Shut it down. This is ludicrous out here.
Yes.
Shut it down.
Yes.
Spring break, none of that, no more. DeSantis said, get it out of here."
Like,
he said, those niggas down there doing some things I ain't never seen before. He said, "Shut that shit down."
Hey, you don't know unless you've been to South Beach and to Miami, but nah, that shit is crazy.
Absolutely crazy. DeSantis was like, "We about to build a wall on South Beach. We gotta shut this shit down now.
Keep the immigrants out. We keeping you horny niggas out of here. We need to get this back to being respectable."
I have like a whole other thought with that, but y'all want to hear my nerdy facts here. We'll move on. Where we at? After Meech done raw dog that joint, that like she ain't just been running with the MKs all that time.
Glock ain't ran through that joint at least 2 or 6 times.
We go back to the hotel, and this is so funny because Angel walks in, and Terry's like, "What the fuck she doing here?" And they have instructed Marquisha and Angel to stay. This is literally the funniest scene of this entire season. So Meech gives her a strap, and she's like, "All right, bet. I keep my head on the swivel at all time." I would have to say she's been accurate about that. She's been watching Glock followers. I give her credit for that. But then Marquisha's like, "Shit, what about me? Do I get a strap? I know how to handle mine." All right, so listen, we got Marquisha and Angel staying in this house. They both strapped up, and they're not allowed to leave for 3 days. Or it becomes about 3 days until they're finished doing everything they need to do with the car and with the product and all that stuff. Hey, what's the name of this reality show? What would you name this shit?
Thelma and Louise.
Hey, yo.
Oh, shit. This is like the word. Oh, what's that horrible show with Gabrielle Union and damn it, and the girl from Honey, when they was like bad boys but with women? And they were in Miami too.
And wasn't it just called Bad Boys?
It may have been Bad Girls or something.
Nah, there's no way they would have went. There's no way they would have went that corny.
I think it was bad. I think it was called Bad Girls. Jessica Alba and Gabrielle Union.
I need you to search that right now. What was the name of that joint? I got something even funnier that I was gonna play, but I gotta figure out the name of this too. Shit. Oh, hold up, because you're right. I know I hit you on the spot with what this is about, but nah, we got to get right to this. Hold on. What is the name? Oh, maybe it wasn't. Oh, what network was this chart on? Oh my God.
You gonna fuck around and I was right. I'm telling you. You could be like, "Nigga, there's this show called Bad Girls." LA's Finest. There we go.
LA's Finest. That's right. In Miami. In Miami.
In Miami. Because it was the character that she played on Bad Boys too.
It's crazy.
See it. And Jessica Alba was her partner. That's her Angel right there.
There was a show, and I just cannot think of the name of it at all. And I want to say it was on BET, but I don't. It's not.
Oh, it's on BET.
Nah, if it's not on BET, I wonder if. Hold on. Nah. It's a show that recently came out. What's one of those other networks? It's not All Black. What's one of them other giants?
Honest Collective?
Nah, it's not on Honest Collection. Give me something else.
VH1?
Oh, wait. Nope, it's not on. Nope, it ain't Tubi. We can try Tubi too. Nope, not that. And not that.
Is with 2 black women.
Yep. Yep, 2 black women.
A network show.
I know they're gonna black. Why are we wasting time? It's all right. I'm gonna get to it in a little bit, but there's a show.
Probably funny as shit, and I probably know the damn show.
Yep, you do.
Show with 2 black women.
Yep.
Wait a minute. An action show with 2 black women. You should like BET Plus.
It's all good. We gotta move on because I'll get at the end of the show. I ain't gonna be like, because this is exactly what I thought about. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Give them a spinoff and make it just like that show. But nonetheless, they get to the Francois meet. They're giving the rest of the cash. They start, first of all, them talking like Tony Montana the entire time is completely hilarious. Hey, but
their accent is just as good as Al Pacino's is.
Hoop rolling up in the 911 Porsche. I gotta admit, Terry was absolutely right about everything he said about that car at that time. But I will say, what year is this? 91, 92? Yeah. I'm just gonna say this right now. This may be out of context, but I know I was gonna say this at some point. But the fact that they're in Miami and they haven't tapped into the Miami Vice aesthetic, not a Ferrari. They didn't have a shot down Collins. They had no speedboats.
It's you in Miami. You're moving cocaine, and you still ain't thought about Miami Vice yet.
I mean, borrow a little something, you know. But nonetheless, yeah, the 911s definitely was that car back in the day. Can't even lie. But they said they from the car. They said, how did you get it? They said they from the car capital of the world. So I'm just going to remind folks that Detroit is an American manufacturing car capital
and you're not
of the United States. So, but I'll let that slide. Television, but I was like, yeah, that didn't mean anything. They're not going to put a Porsche in a area that they know the market's not there, especially when they only 2 and the other one's going. First, I tell you what. Real talk, if there's only 2 that was available and one went to what they said, they didn't say because there was damn sure no Dubai. What did they say? It was going somewhere to the Middle East. Nonetheless, Saudi Arabia, yeah. The flags that would have been sent off about who the hell is this going to?
By every FBI agent in the world. You tell me these 2 black kids bought a car that only one other one is. Come on now.
They've been all over that.
They should have got him a Mustang. Stop playing.
But then the rest of the BMF and PA folks or even homies would definitely all of them show up looking real alias in their very, very, very casual clothing because they're going to be the drivers there. This is them setting up the plan because they said, like, listen, man, if we can go undetected by the Red Dogs, then we can go undetected by anybody else. And Meech also giving Terry his props for handling everything, which was definitely a cool moment. What did you think about when they rolled up in the Porsche? The van shows up, everybody's there in their very alias attire, and Meech giving Terry the props. What did you think about all of that?
That all them niggas managed to get to Miami really, really fast in all of those new cars from Detroit. Like, that's not a short trip from Miami to Detroit. And all of them got there really, really fast. And you gave me a Porsche, which I'm grateful for because, again, it's only 2 in the world. But if you drove that motherfucker from Detroit, did you give me a Porsche with 10,000 miles on it already? Like, what's that mean?
Hey, yo, you ridiculous.
You ain't just got a used car already?
Hey, bro, you
could at least shut this motherfucker down.
You are too funny, bro.
It is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
The whole coming together as a family and saying you can trust all of these people. I'm about to call him Joaquin. Jacquees? Not Jacquees. What is this nigga's name?
Who? Francois?
Francois. I knew it was a French name that everyone had his I said Jacquees. That don't make no damn sense, man. But the point that he's just trusting for all of these random black people to show up. That threw me off too. I thought he would have said something like, this is too many people to know my operation and to know that this is my operation that I'm setting up here. So that's the first thing that popped into my head was like, is it going to be overwhelming for him to be around this many people when he's just met Meech and Terry and just decided to work with them?
Yeah. I mean, he is kind of going with the flow. I mean, the one thing I will say is that like they definitely build up that he was going to be asking a bunch of questions, but he seemed to be very he seems to be very welcoming in a way I wasn't expecting it to be, but you're entirely right. We have date night now with Lucille and Dr. Monclair, who Lucille lets her know about the whole thing about Charles and her and being pulled in a million different directions. And Dr. Monclair's like, listen, I want you to forget about him tonight, you know? And, you know, I think that Lucille, with that, you know, understands that, you know, she has been distracted, but nonetheless, she asks, why did you pick a restaurant with a hotel? And he gives her a key and says, here's the key to the rest of your life. And he mentioned about dreaming about making love to her, about pleasing her and making love to her. Well, before we even get to the room, what did you think about my man? Very unsmooth tactics.
Nah, they ain't unsmooth. This nigga must have just listened to that new Future and Metro album. Did he hit Lucille with this line? Hey, baby, behind this key is a new life for you. Like, this, my man talking about, I'm changing your world. Like, your whole perspective is about to change. All you gotta do is open that door and walk through it. That's some pimp shit to say to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't even lay a hotel key down and tell a chick, you walk through this door, your whole life is going to change. Like, for real? Like, I did appreciate him telling her, we need to be in the moment. It doesn't need to be about Charles, because I think that's the line he needs to draw with Lucille is stop bringing up Charles. Yeah. I do like he's so comfortable with her that he allows her to work through that, but we can't be on a date and you're constantly talking about him.
Yeah,
like I love the point that even this scene they had with each other here once they get back to the room, like she done left my man with blue balls twice now, and he's still like, I'm willing to wait as long as I need to be with you, and I think that's what got her. Like, yeah, all of that stuff,
and you still feel like he's being genuine here.
100% so. Because keep in mind, he's had a crush on her since high school. So this ain't something that he's rushing for. I think that's why I love the way they laid the groundwork for this relationship is they all went to school together, all three of them. Mm-hmm. She picked between them two when they were in school. And he just happened to come back in the picture. And now he's like, I'm willing to wait. Like, I've been in love with you my entire life. I can wait. Whenever you're ready. And I think it's 100% genuine that he's saying all of this to Lucille.
He just waiting for his right moment to reveal his true colors.
You just been jaded. Just the world has just corrupted you.
Man, I tell you, like the thing about it is that, like, I would have thought everything would have been okay, but he slid her the key, and like that's a very strong, suggestive notion of implied intentions. Like, he did this dinner at the fancy spot. You know, he hypes himself up on the low. I think he has a measure of being respectful, but he also implies the things that he wants and what he's trying to get out of everything. I also would go as far as saying, like, my man is a hotel. My man ain't never tried to bring her home. He ain't never tried to bring her home, man. There's something real strange about this. You got a whole situation now.
No, he moved. I thought he just moved back home. I think that's the part of the story. He just moved back to Detroit.
Man, he doing good. You know, he got a place. He not trying to get back on his feet.
He ain't got no place, but maybe he just like, he a doctor. Maybe he just got a bed. I ain't got no furniture in here.
Charles would never did this to Mabel. She been right up in the house.
Charles would have fucked Mabel in the alley with rats going over his feet.
No, stop.
Matter of fact, that's the duality of this scene. Charles took Mabel to the cheapest motel humanly possible to blam them cheeks.
He ain't had no money.
Dr. Monclair took Lucille to the Four Seasons. Like, he ain't had no money. Said, you know what? We ain't gotta do it. Whenever you ready. That's what makes me believe he's being sincere enough. Whenever you ready, you just let me know.
All right, so to get to
the slip of him saying I love you, that was it. That caught Lucille. She was like, "Oh
He
shit."
don't even mean it. He don't even mean it. He don't even know her to be saying that.
Escaping for Charles. I get it.
Listen, and you know he had intentions on trying getting them draws this entire time, because the moment they get inside the hotel room, he put on Teddy Pendergrass, and you know it's gonna be real hard for women to say. Listen, he went for the killer too.
Her intention when she got to that doctor's office was to give up them draws. She was on it. So ain't like they both ain't had. I think that's the waiting game. Both of them want it, but it's because she's still married that she's holding back.
Man, hell no. I know she said that, but hell no. That again, I think it wasn't until that moment where she realized, like, I'm still torn about who I want to be with.
I don't think it's her being torn. I think she cleared it up, as we talked about it kind of earlier. She cleared it up later in the episode. She's not torn, but she is still a church-going woman who believes in her vows. And the thing is, when she told Charles, "I want a divorce," I think that's part of the reason she wanted. Like, I can live my life as long as I'm not married to this man. I know plenty of women like that. I've slept with them. Like, they need to not be with their husbands. Like, they need to either be legally separated or divorced for them to feel comfortable about it.
Your girl ain't gonna be happy about that comment. I'm out to probably.
But it's all in the past, though. We're in the future. We don't need to look back at the past, yo. Why would we do that? We just looking forward in life. We trying to progress. You know. Okay. As I told you, you can cry in that Toyota or my Maybach.
What hotel you taking? What hotel you taking her to?
Intercontinental.
Nope. No, you're a damn lie. You're a damn lie.
We doing big things, bro. We ain't doing none small game. None small game here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to impress your world. I'm trying to set a new standard in your life.
You better not wake her up to intercontinental breakfast.
Oh, that's disrespectful, yo. That's disrespectful.
Hey, yo. All right, we got to get through this episode. How long we been recording? But I feel like this probably been like 3. Yeah, because we at the hour mark. That's why. Anyway, after that though, to the hotel room. Yeah, Lucille pauses his name because she's still married. Talks about it's a beautiful night. She definitely always wears that face of like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But Dr. Monclair makes it very clear. Loved her, always have. Better Flenory home. Nicole up in the room being nasty, kissing on Breeze. But Charles comes in, looks for Lucille, comes up to Nicole room, asks her why she ain't answer. Says that, where's mom? Mom's with Dr. Monclair. Says, fine. Mom's not home. We're going out to eat. And there's that. We go back to the shop, and Francois is basically talking about how to build all the compartments, whatnot. It should be very much noted that they got this car stripped down to the chassis, which shows that, like, yeah, this is definitely not something that you just do some MacGyvering and you throw something in there. Like, he's really breaking it down. It says it's gonna take 2 to 3 days for all of these joints. We go back to Bryant and Jen in the car listening to Henry as she's looking for Tyson. They can't find him. Jen wants to get her badge back. But says she's going to go to Kobe dad because Kobe dad, a councilman, may be the ones to help take everybody down because they can't trust nobody in the department. And this is her mentioning about the ladder on out. And again, as we talked about earlier, them wanting to do this for Kobe and Kevin. At dinner between Nicole and Charles, she lets Charles know, her dad, that Breeze is her boyfriend now. He wants to know more about him. Praises Breeze about his mathematics skills and all the things that he's into. Charles gives some advice that I would tell anybody that, especially when you're young, before you decide that this is your one and you're still in the deal for the rest of your life, you might want to get to know yourself first before you get to know anybody else. I would also argue too that you might want to make some mistakes in life before you lock it down for the rest of your life, because that's, I think, to Charles's point, is some sound advice. And I think Nicole is happy she got somebody, but I also think she deserves a win because of what happened to her tragically. So I think it's, I will say, like, I don't feel like Charles was talking over her. I think he was legitimately having a conversation with her. But Nicole, and I know everybody thinks Nicole is spicy with the tongue, and back in my day, you got your tongue cut off talking fresh to your press like that. But
grown folks' business.
Yeah, but I got to give it to her, man. Like, they've been very consistent with the writing with her. She is young, thinking she's grown, and she is snapping off in a way that is mildly inappropriate. But I mean, she's a kid with big feelings, and she's just letting it. She's just letting it loose. And when she says, like, "I would never let Breeze treat me the way you treated Mama," and she said, "Oops, I didn't mean that." And Charles says, "No, you did, but it's okay." But he turns on music, gets back to his happy place, dances with his daughter. Charles turn on that new birth, man. Charles been listen. When it came down to the music of this episode, they didn't miss. They put on some hits on this one.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they didn't.
Charles would have learned from this scene why him and Lucille will never get back together. His daughter told him why they would never get back together.
I mean, I don't know. It's getting through his thick skull one way or another. But I will say I'm glad that they haven't demonized any of these songs, because you know how they used to do in the previous seasons, man. They take a hit, have you never want to hear it again.
Yeah.
But Nicole, I think, gives Charles the last cosign that he needed, that he needs to pursue the tour because he's good at music. It makes him happy. She wants that for him. They go back to the shop and they're giving praise to Francois, as they say they love him for himself. But when they start to talk about how could he get to the apartment, say you would literally have to cut the car in half in order to get to it. They also go about the sequences in terms of how to get through it. If you don't know how to do the sequences, you can't. And then Meech basically saying, like, listen, man, we can control our prices. We can name our price and we control the distro. This is literally their step to the future of taking over the world. Remy and Homie just in the car rapping about Meech again, and everything's happening in Miami. We get to the corner now, and we got Blaze there looking at Tyson. Henry comes in. She loses it. They talk about finding him in a dumpster, which I immediately said, really, Bryant, this is the best you can do? But they find out that this is the dumpster around from Terry's restaurant. She says, I'm going to fucking kill him. Blaze says, you will not. So father is pulling his weight and holding command that she's not going to do so. I know that's going to be problematic. It ain't going to be so much longer for her to sit there. She doesn't have any product, which means she still is struggling to bring money in. She's not financially hurting because her uncle was able to make her break clean with the folks before, but she doesn't have a connect. So what is she going to do? Going to continue to make her even more dangerous now, not having her, losing her cousin, losing her mom from that, not bringing any money. And God knows if something happens between her and Jen, that's the last straw. But nonetheless, Brian and Jen, they were just talking about how Kobe Dad can, reiterating the conversation from earlier, Kobe Dad could be the one helping them take down all of the dirty cops in the department. Next, we go back to the hotel with Meech, where Terry walks in. Angel asks where Meech is at. Meech is next door. Markeisha goes off about how they've been waiting on him for 2 days. Markeisha's pressing him. I can't wait for you to tell me what you think about this. But he says he booked her a flight to go home. She said, because we got to drive the product back up. She said, bosses do not drive their own weight. We're on vacation. We're supposed to be here together. She talks about how she almost died from this relationship. And then she takes shots at him, takes shots at LaWanda. She's just pissed. What did you think about Markeisha and Terry's whole argument here about
like father, like son? Ain't listening to your woman to save your life. One, he should have never brought Markeisha with him, but he let it slip. Why he brought Markeisha with him right in this scene? When he brings up, what you gonna just fuck Vince? And it's like, oh, so you thought she could. That's why you wanted her to come on this trip with you. So you brought her for the wrong reasons, and then you ruined the trip for her.
Yeah. And
now you want to say you need to go back. And she's like, nah, we still have time. Like, Markeisha's whole thing was she wanted to spend this trip and spend time with Terry. Terry, as you said from the beginning, underestimated that this was a business trip.
Yeah.
This wasn't one of those type of trips where you could just bring a random woman with you. Not random, but any woman with you. And then expect to do business. And I think she has the right to be mad here. Again, she said, y'all left us in this hotel with each other for 2 days. Like, no contact. Because she said she tried to call him. So no contact, no nothing. And then when you come back, it's, you got to go.
Yeah.
That ain't the way relationships work. But again, this is showing that T's still a kid. How would he know? Like, he wouldn't know that this is the wrong way to go about it. And while he's dead ass wrong in this situation, unfortunately for Markeisha, she signed up for this life. When you decide to date a kid this young and you know what game he's in, you can't think that everything's going to be about you. It's not. So yeah, he shouldn't have brought you on a trip, but you shouldn't have expected anything better once you knew what type of trip you was on.
Yeah. I finally figured out the show I was talking about this entire time.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's sad that it took me this long to figure it out. It's on All Black, which I knew it was. Do you remember the show? We TV is what I was the last bit of the puzzle.
Last show we had to watch on We TV was that Hip Hop Homicide show.
No, it wasn't. That was All Black.
No, Hip Hop Homicide was We TV.
It's all the same thing, honestly.
It's all the same thing anyway.
Code and Wendy. That's the show.
Code and Wendy is the name of the show?
Yeah, you don't remember that?
No, I do not.
Oh, okay, 2 women rapping, but they be doing their
like
thing.
Rap shit, but with like action. No, I'm good. I thought she was about to say Lily and the Eve, the movie with Viola Davis and Jennifer.
Oh yeah. That I don't remember if I like that or not. I don't know.
You didn't. Don't worry about it. You didn't got to think about it. You didn't. No one did.
To talk about Markeisha though, I'm not really feeling this between them right now, because I think for her to say she's in the life, or she knows about this life, and when he very much explained that our life is in danger, and she's kind of like, so that's reckless, because I don't know if she's feeling like she's untouchable or she's above the threat. Regardless of how you feel about Terry, and then regardless of how you feel about you not being able to get your tan lines, like, we're in Miami, you know what I'm about. You've been with Boom, you know he's been in certain things and certain around places, and you know how this works. You're not giving me like you've been in this life.
Yeah.
You know, and not in the way that she portrays, not in the way like, oh, I hold my part down. You're giving me Angel. Who's new to this. That's kind of like, oh my God, money, trips.
Angel ain't new to this because she's a stripper, remember.
I mean, but Angel ain't
cars and everything, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, Angel awareness is probably amongst the highest of everybody there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But yeah, she hasn't been like in the life. You know, Greenie had her on that pole working all the players in the club, you know? So she know how to identify folks. But she don't know who's set with who. Maybe she do know who's set with who, but like she don't know how to move when she's out of state. Clearly, is she out here just like dancing on the pole for Glock, going to Glock funeral, and then like, I can't go black the Glock. I can't. I gotta go. Why the hell are you even down here?
Here's the analogy. Markeisha is giving like less Little Kim, who you would expect to know, because Kim talked about hiding bricks in her jump. Stuff in the brick in her retirement. You're giving me less Little Kim and more Doja Cat. Like, Doja Cat ain't the chick that you gonna think like to pull a move.
Yeah.
Nah, she gonna be as green as humanly possible. Yeah. And that's what Markeisha is giving up. And you're wondering why though.
Yeah.
If it's just anger that you're mad that y'all don't get this vacation, the moment he told me our lives are in danger and he handed you a gun, that should told you then the first goal is to get out of Miami immediately.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We go somewhere else. We're going to the beach.
Already know.
Detroit got beaches, don't they?
No, bro. They do probably, but no one wants to go to Detroit. But I mean, like, you're right. We all know
Niagara Falls isn't that far from Detroit. Like, go. I'm just saying, go somewhere else. But we
know they're going. The question is, will this show take us to Mexico?
They got to.
They got to. And will she be a part of it? That's going to be interesting. But I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get there. I want to get through the rest of this now because we get to the hotel lobby. First of all, after Markeisha completely disrespects LaWanda pregnancy, that was uncalled for. You are supposed to be a mother. Why would you be talking about her milking breasts? Okay.
LaWanda deserved it after she threw that fur coat at Marquisha.
Okay, fine. They get to the lobby and Meech is saying, "Where's Marquisha at?" Says "fuck off" and smirks. That was hilarious. That was probably improv too. But Angel and Meech down there. Glock and MK show up. They say search for Meech now. Terry asks Angel, did Chief set him up, which is the complete right question. Yes, but she says, "Fuck off, Terry. Fuck you, Terry." But they're trapped. And this is the wildest, most head-scratching scene. And then after this, I'm ready to just sign off for the rest of the night. They get trapped, and they're trying to figure out how to get out of the hotel. And they're basically playing, what's that game? Almost Spy versus Spy, where you're just trying to just...
Scooby-Doo. When Shaggy and Scooby are trying to sneak around the ghost, and one of them drops something, and he like zoinks. Yeah. That's what happened here. When Angel said, "Oh, my purse."
Yeah, this was a frustrating scene. And then if it didn't get any worse there, because after that, after Meech identifies that the car's on the outside, he proceeds to stomp Glock out. Surprised he's not trapped, right? Because, I mean, you were just strapped.
Shouldn't one of them have a gun?
Yeah,
both of them had guns.
But you proceed to stump him out, and I don't mean like one kick. He's like, it's a stone cold mud. He stumped a mud hole in this person. Yeah, and Jim Ross is going crazy right now. And then the MKs, which I know this probably had to. I know this had to piss you off. They out here trying to shoot after Meech, Terry, and Angel, and they put a bullet in Glock's back. If Glock is still alive, Glock is absolutely paralyzed now.
Yes.
So
because that joke clearly went in, and it didn't go through and through. Because he's bleeding out of the way he bleeding out his chest. That bullet didn't go through and through. There's no way he's not paralyzed at this point. But are you just gonna skip over Meech's role over the broken glass as he's leaving that hotel? And the point they slowed on that broken glass.
That was a Michael Bay Bad Boys 1 special right there.
Oh shit!
All we needed was an explosion on the outside and the glamming shop, and the Michael Bay special right there, man. What did you make of all of that, man? Wow,
that was fast. That was a fast franchise.
Don't
Michelle Rodriguez was in that car as they pulled off. You would not have been surprised.
Hey, listen. I have you know it. I do have one fast scene loaded up. We almost there. You already know where I should be going at. Every week, I'm giving you something fast.
This was an interesting scene to set up the point that Glock knew where they stayed. So again, he's been having people follow Angel this entire time.
Yeah,
and that was a smart thing to do. Again, I just got to see how this is coming to play to the point that Glock got shot by one of his men. At what point do you not understand? You don't shoot at them when he's right there. Yeah. Like he's literally in the line of fire. Why would you shoot at them at that point?
It's trash.
Yeah.
Also, let me just...
You can't take out Glock that way. Glock is too big of a villain. He cannot go out that way.
Yeah, it's trash. Also, Meech's car being out front also didn't help the cause too. I mean, you have a white Mercedes with out-of-state tags, pretty easily searchable out here, findable. Clear. But we definitely got to see how that plays a part in him being shot afterwards. Like, I was like, what? Really? But anyway, back at the shop, Meech gets there, say, everybody get in the cars now. The MKs are following us. We got to leave. This is when Meech rolls out with the Benz. They follow Meech. Everybody with the vans and everything else, they go the other way. This, my friend, is the infamous Fast and Furious Okie Doke.
Clearly. As they follow Meech Toretto as he zooms out of there.
Oh my God.
And they all meet up like family at the beach.
On the beach. Exactly. Few Coronas and it was all good. I'm ready to get over. I'm ready for this episode. I'm ready to stop talking about this episode. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
The end of it was just too ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck happened by the end of this episode. They was like, we're just gonna throw everything out there at one time. We're gonna get Glock shot, which is horrible, and I pray that that's not the way they're gonna end him.
Yeah,
and
ridiculous.
then we're gonna have this big race scene that is super unnecessary, and then we're gonna have Terry's reflections at the beach. Like it was a bunch of stuff there that I didn't that I'm not gonna say I didn't like, but it's confusing.
Yeah,
especially for episode 9. That's even more like. So I'm assuming they're gonna really amp it up for episode 10 because episode 9 is normally the big episode.
Yeah,
and you didn't get anything that you didn't know you were going to get in this episode. So that's more interesting. Even down to the end part with Henrietta, she kills the cook. I can't remember the dude's name.
Oh, Hoop. Yeah, man. Let me get through the rest of this, and then but let's just reflect on the entire episode. So we get back to the Flenory home. We get to Charles and Lucille talk. Charles asking about an answer to go on tour with him, and this is basically Lucille as she is sort of struggling and stumbling to get over her words. A little bit of stuttering here. I said struggling and stumbling, and she's stuttering to get her words across, but she lets him know that I think I'm in love with Maurice. And she mentions that like I just feel like if I stay in this marriage, I'm giving up on myself. Charles gives her a kiss and walks away. Go back to the beach. Everybody's waiting on Meech, which is where I'm like, all right, well, we're sitting here on the beach. Like, can we at least see like one speedboat or something like that? We get a moment between Francois and Terry talking about family trauma and whether you got to carry it, whether or not. Meech shows up.
Holocaust member? He had tattooed on his arm.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so. Okay.
Yep. And then talk about the late. Glad you're okay, Angel. Bro, this blew me. Terry says you're fucking late. And he says, everybody gas up. Let's get the hell out of here. Angel goes over to Meech and says, I'm glad you're okay. See you at home. Bitch, where's your home? I am tired.
This hop along heifer. Didn't she just go with the MKs? No, you will not see me at home. No. But Meech again. Meech calls Terry tender dick even in this episode. And clearly, Meech is the tender dick here. Like, because he's falling for Angel every which way but loose.
Let me tell you something funny. On Twitter, and I do say proceeding with caution because, you can get down into the weaves of things and end up seeing something you don't want to see. There's a thread I saw that says, for all you guys who have taken your women back who cheated, look in this thread. And it's a thread of like a bunch of just ridiculous things. But I suggest that Meech goes look at that thread because you have got to remember that you just left the club and she was surrounded by all those MKs.
Yes.
Down in Miami. You know she don't got a place because clearly she was just with you. Where you think she's staying? So, she went to the funeral. She's been rolling tight with them.
Not only where you think she's staying, what do you think she did to get a place to stay? The fuck you think she is talking to them? Nah. She fucked the crew. And then you ran raw right up in her at the beach. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Meech got to do better. That's all we need. We need Meech to do better. That's all we say.
Yeah, that's all. But we do get a conversation about being the number 1 and number 2 between Terry and Meech. He said he got too comfortable being the number 2, but now that he's been the number 1, he sees that it's also not comfortable and it's time for them to take the world. And they also have the moment of saying, we finally made it to South Beach. Hoop, who was taking out the trash, Henry shows up, yells, kills Hoop, and says, tell Terry he's next. And we get now to back in the Atlanta where the Red Dogs are there with checkpoints. Everybody's getting pulled over. They talk about they got an anonymous tip. We already agree, and I agree with you that we think it's Remy. They say all these cars are going to be impounded. The Red Dogs playing by their own rules. Also, too, that one cop, I was like, is this fucking Bobby Lashley? There's no way they got Bobby Lashley out here. Huh?
You look like Bobby Lashley.
He did. I was like, really? They got the Hurt Business out here. They wild this. But anyway, the Red Dogs playing by their own rules. They bust the tail lights, say they all gonna get impounded. They were worried about like them getting the product, but they know like it's impossible for them to do so. They walk away and they're gonna regroup. Yeah. So we're just gonna have to see what happens with that. That's the end of this goddamn episode where Meech gives the sort of the monologue that he always wins in the end. But yeah, finales next week. We'll be here to talk about it. This episode was a little bit of a drag. There were some head scratching moments. Not one of my favorite episodes. Definitely not even near one of my favorite episode 9s.
Henrietta killed him and then said, "Tell Terry." She killed him and then said, "Tell Terry."
I mean,
does he got Patrick Stewart with him? Like, how the fuck? Like, how the fuck is he gonna tell Terry anything?
Wait, you mean did he say Patrick Stewart?
No, I said Patrick Stewart. Unless Charles dog Xavier, it's gonna go in his head.
Dog, I thought when you said Patrick Stewart, I thought you were really trying to say Patrick Swayze and talk about Ghost.
Oh, Ghost? No, because then I would have said Whoopi Goldberg. Because Whoopi Goldberg nigga read the Ghost, not Patrick Swayze.
Hey, yo, I was about to say, dog, you an old head for real. That's what you was. Hey, yo, that is hilarious, bro.
Oh shit! But yeah, it just a lot of it didn't make sense. I'm assuming it's a setup for a big finale, but this episode was a head scratcher.
Yeah.
But I just want to end it like this, then we can get out of here. Shout out to Ren, not Henrietta, as they had to go on social media because folks are still misgendering them, and it's a gut-wrenching jump when they had to walk and say, "Man, stop calling me a female." Like, letting you know, like, my pronouns are them and they.
Yeah.
And people were still being super disrespectful just because maybe this ain't the best, or it's not Lamar.
Yeah.
But they're not playing Lamar. They're playing a completely different villain. And they're doing a great job as Henrietta.
Let me make sure I'm correct here. So I know Ren's pronouns, but Henrietta is still okay, right. All right. So right.
But they were talking about Ren and categorizing them as she. And that's what they were correcting them on. Like, don't categorize me as a female.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I caught the video and it really like disturbed me a little bit. Because you could tell they were getting emotional about it. And it's because this ain't the villain for you that you feel the need to harass someone? Come on now. We're not doing that. Everybody ain't Lamar.
Yeah. I'll say this, and hopefully this doesn't come off insensitive, but I think a lot of people got to stop giving their piece to the folks on the internet. Because 9 times out of 10 it's beneath them, and Ren has been just flat out fantastic, and maybe this is one of their biggest roles. It's definitely going to be one of their biggest exposures for sure, just because of the fan base that's attached to it. But yeah, no one deserves to lose their peace and happiness based on internet trolls, because that's essentially what it is. That's it.
Niggas ain't got nothing.
That's it. Yeah, but nonetheless,
shout out to y'all for watching though.
Yeah, we out. They'll do it for tonight.
That means you're watching their show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But then let's not do it for tonight's show. Episode 9. We'll stick a fork in it. We'll be back episode 10. We'll see how episode 10 rocks, man. If they better bring it. They better bring it.
Know of episode 10 is Charles is going to try to get Lucille back. That's all we can tell you now. You already know what's going to happen. This nigga just will not give up.
We'll see. But we out. Thank y'all for watching tonight. We'll see y'all back next week with the finale episode recap of BMF.